Hi, Paul from Journey from Petrolhead, and this time we're looking at a 1979 MGB GT. Now, the MGB GT is our first classic car review. Let's see what we think about this. 1965 to 1980 they produced the MGB GT. MG, who were part of British Leyland at that time, they chose the B series engine, which is a 1.8 4-cylinder engine with twin SU carbs, producing around about 95 horsepower, giving it a 0 to 60 time of around about 11 seconds, which in those days was pretty amazing. Now, Road and Track last year suggested that this was one of the 11 Pininfarina designs that wasn't a Ferrari that was the best. And you can see the actual slope design of this. I mean, they don't make cars like this anymore. It's a nice 2-and-2, a pure 2-and-2. While there is a bench seat in the back, there's no seatbelts. These seatbelts here are only for the front. Okay, so 65 to 80 they sold this. In 75 they made a change for American regulations. They added in the rubber bumpers, ripped off the chrome bumpers, and in order to comply with American ride height, they raised the suspension by an inch. Okay, and purists went insane and said, oh, you made a mess of the car and whatever. Personally, I prefer the rubber bumper to the chrome bumper look, but it's all a personal matter of taste. Now, I wouldn't judge the stance of this car on a standard MGB GT rubber bumper. This one has had a lot of modifications. We'll take you through that in part 2 of the video. This is not your standard MGB GT, but the basic idea and shape is as it came out of the factory. Okay, so you have a Webasto roof which opens all the way back, which is quite nice. You have, in this particular instance, a 4-speed gearbox with overdrive. Only 20% of all MGBs had overdrive, and in this particular model it's a 79, so in 77 they moved the overdrive switch. Up to 77 the overdrive was a toggle switch on the dashboard. From 77 on they put a switch on top of the gear lever. We'll show you that when we look at the interior later on. And in this case it works on 3rd gear and 4th gear. Now 3rd gear plus overdrive is very, very similar to 4th gear, so really the only advantage in it is to stop you having to change from 3rd to 4th. So let's say you're on a windy stretch or you're going for a quick overtake or whatever. 3rd into overdrive, go around the corner, then you need to slow down for something in front of you, so you come back out of overdrive. You don't have to change gear, you don't have to use the clutch. That's really the only advantage of 3rd plus overdrive. The 4th plus overdrive is very good for cruising, certainly in modern roads today, because the roads are a lot faster than they were when this was made, and it just wouldn't keep up with modern traffic in a nice sedate manner without overdrive. So I prefer them with overdrive, but as I say, only 20% of the MGBs came with overdrive. Now you'll notice that it's all very small, so cars are an awful lot smaller then than they are now. It's just tiny compared to how it used to be. Okay. Now, when these cars came out of the factory first, they came with 14-inch wheels running Pirelli Cinturato tires, 185/60 14s, which are fine in the day, but modern tires are far superior to that. So this particular model has had its tires upgraded and its wheels replaced. They generally come with road style wheels or with wire wheels, which are quite nice but impossible to keep clean. These are mini lights. I don't think they're original. I think they're reproduction mini lights. Must consult with the owner and ask that question, but they really, I think they make the car look better. The road styles, if they're black road styles, they can make the cars look older. So if you're buying a classic, have a look and see what kind of rubber is on the actual car. If it's original Pirelli Cinturatos from 1970 whatever, that mightn't be very safe. If it's even original Pirelli Cinturato tires, the style and the grip won't be up to modern tire technology. So these have been replaced with radial Nankangs, which I'm told has transformed the handling. So you know, that's something to think about. You'll also notice that original MGBs came with 2 6-volt batteries in the back. So in this particular car, the battery's actually under the rear seat. You have to lift the rear seat bench. There's 2 boxes, a 6-volt either side. Cars that have 6-volt batteries are positive earthed, so watch out for that. Most cars these days, in fact all cars these days, are negative earth. And when the MGB was converted to a single 12-volt battery, it was converted to a negative earth. They redid all the wiring to negative earth, so watch out for that. If you're buying an MGB with 2 6-volts, it's positive earth. Just be careful because things are wired the other way around. The cabin has a lot of space. We'll show you all this now shortly. The cabin has a lot of space inside in the front bit, but in the back there's no room. However, there is a good hatchback on these cars. Okay, so there's a lot of boot space. Again, we'll show you that now in a minute. There's a lot of boot space in these cars. There's a nice seamless design. A 3-door 2+2 was officially called. So let's do a walk around of the MGB GT. So the first thing you see, this is the rubber bumper model. So the actual indicators are incorporated into the bumper, and we have halogen headlights. Lucas H4 bulbs is actually written on it. I don't know if you can see that. And in this particular car, those headlights are actually quite effective. They're very, very bright at night, which is quite nice. You know, the lines of the car are better than modern designs, in my opinion. I quite like the look of these classic cars. You'll also see something that I really like on classics, and I wish it was still a feature today, is the quarter light window that opens from the inside. That throws great ventilation into the cabin and assists with clearing a window faster on a cold, icy day. There's no air conditioning in this particular model, so if you open this one, it's nice when you're on a nice drive, or if the window's getting a bit foggy, you open it and it just clears it really, really quick. So for example, if you're driving in a rainstorm and you're getting a little bit fogged down the bottom of the windscreen, there is a heater in the car you can turn on, but it clears faster with that open. The other thing is this vent here, there's two, I don't know if you can see, there's two scoops down here, and they have pipes going straight into the interior to those two vents on the dashboard. If you can see them there, just the first side of the steering wheel, and that blows fresh air into the driver's face all the time. It's very, very effective. However, if you're behind a big dirty lorry, there's no filters that go straight into your face, so you know, watch out for that. Frameless doors. I'm a big fan of frameless doors, especially when the windows go all the way down into the frameless door. Let me just show you now real quick. If I can get to the winder over here. I really, really like frameless doors. I just think they're a nice, stylish design. You don't get them on many cars today, and I don't like this bit. It's nicer. Cars were just designed nicer in the 70s. Some of them anyway. You notice the lines all swoop back down into the rear of the car, which is quite good. MGB GT, you can see we have a fuel tank on the outside, it's just controlled by keys. MGB GT, and what I really like, okay, GT badge on the panel here. Now, on the outside of these cars, there are some things to watch out for. So if you're actually looking at this video with a view to buying one, okay, there are some areas of attention you need to pay close inspection on. So for sure, along here on top of the wings, just at the base of the windscreen, that tends to rust quite badly along here. Watch out for that. That can be a real problem. It's not cheap to fix. Okay, in this particular car, you'll notice that both sides are really, really good. There's no rust. It's all nice and solid. Okay, double check that. That's your first point of failure. Okay, that can be a real problem. Second point of known rusty areas is down here, because the water all accumulates down this way, down the channel and out, and you can have a lot of rust along here. And again, this car is not suffering from any of that, so this one has been quite well looked after, as it would appear. The third area, as with all classic cars, you should really check this, is get down underneath the car and have a look under the sills down here, okay, because that can be a real trap for rust. There isn't any again here, but what you need to do is check it's all metal, okay, and it's not rusty and ready to fall apart. Okay, the other part in the MGB, so in the wheel well, just up under here, there's a little shelf, and water tends to trap in there from spray from the wheel, and they all rust just inside there. So again, have a good look, get it up in a ramp, have a good look underneath, make sure there isn't any rust lurking to cause you problems. The other known issue with these cars, if you look at the door panel gap here, this isn't straight, and it's not meant to be straight. Okay, the door, they never came out of the factory with that straight, right? So what happens in a lot of instances is people, when they're trying to restore these cars, try and make that straight. Don't make it straight, with the result that the passenger window won't wind down because the regulator is under pressure. Okay, so when you get one of these, have a look, wind this window, make sure it goes down. Okay, if it doesn't go down, you may have a problem with the door mount. Okay, also make sure the slam is good. Should be one sound like that one was, and that it's actually locking. Make sure that door locks. Okay, same on the other side. These doors didn't come straight out of the factory, so just watch out for that. If they've been rehung by a car restorer, he hasn't done it right, you might have an issue there. Just be careful. The only other thing you need to look for, now, as with all classic cars, this one has a toolkit in the boot where people are using spanners and filters and whatever, and something to soak up drippage. But under here is where the spare tire goes. Okay, and in this case, this spare tire is the road style original, and it has a jack, which is handy. But this is all the fuel pipe stuff along here. Just check that this tray is not rusted, and check there's no smell of fuel coming from in here. The fuel pipes, tend to give up. The fuel tanks need to be replaced, obviously, and any rust in here, well, that's bad news. Okay. Finally, check for a spare tire. This is one of those original tires I was telling you about. 165/14. Not in great nick. We'll get you home in a rush if you need it, but I wouldn't run on these on a regular basis. And that is one of the original road style wheels. And if you compare that to the mini lights on this car now at the moment, well, I think the mini lights are nicer, but that's a personal preference. Okay. Finally, you want to double check around your hinges, double check around your roof lining. If there's a Webasto roof, like there is on this, there are drain holes in the Webasto roof. Just be sure you're not getting any leakage underneath in the cabin. Okay. Okay. So that's a quick walk around and a quick guide to the 1979 version of the MGB. Now, there are several upgrades you can actually do to classics to make them drive better in modern road environments. This one has had most of them employed actually at this point. So why don't we go into a guide of how you can upgrade an MGB and what upgrades this particular one has to give you an idea. Thanks guys. Jump to the next video and like and subscribe as always, and we'll bring you more videos. Cheers.